So welcome back. We have this project demo Viz 2 and this is a blank project. I have only one view and controller, what I have created. Now, when we talk about the data, what is the data which we will be using? Then this is the data. Let me just make it as a data, and it is basically having the store name and revenue. So 2-dimension store and revenue of that particular store. So I will use this inside on init and I will say OData as this. Okay, so let me add the proper tabs here so you can see that what is the data, what we have. Okay, so this is the data. It is hard coded for now, but in the real examples you might be getting or you would be getting this from the backend services. So for now, let's use it with hard coded format. And once I have this data with me, then next will be this dot get view, and inside that I will be using set model, and the model is sap.ui.model.json.json model, and here OData I need to pass, which is already coming, and the observable I don't need. So that's all. So we have this data in the model now. Okay, when we talk about view, we don't need shell, app, page, this structure. What we will be doing is we will be using a lot of new namespaces that will be representing our chart components or the Viz component. So the first thing which we will be using here is the Viz control itself, which will be XML NS, and here I will say it is as Viz, and the path is sp.viz.ui5.controls. So this is the Viz namespace, and then the next thing which we will have is viz.feed for our feeds, which will be controls.common.feeds. So this feed is what we will pass. This include both our dimension and measure, and as there will be multiple feeds, so I can call it feeds. So this is something which we require just for passing within the graph. Then we have the data. So whatever measures we have, we need to specify within this particular namespace, and this will be of type sap.viz.ui5.data. So these are three important things what we will be using. So feeds, data, and measures and dimension, they will be both part of the data here. And we will be using a fixed flex layout. So I will be also creating one namespace for layout. We are not going to put it inside a page content, and we are going to use a layout. So the layout which we are going to use is flex. So SAP UI dot layout. Okay, so these are the namespace. If we required any more namespace, then we will come back and add it. And first, let's add the layout and fix flex. So this is the layout which we will be selecting. I can select ID chart, give an ID. Maybe I might use it or not use it. I need to give a minimum size, and the minimum size here can be any minimum size, but for now let's use 250 pixel, and that's all. So let's try to keep the fix flex smaller in size in terms of height. And inside this fix flex, I will be adding a flex content, because that is the aggregation what it has. So flex content, and let me add that aggregation and tag as well. Okay, so that is done. Now inside the flex content, what we will be adding is we'll be adding a Viz frame. So the namespace I can write as Viz and use Viz frame. I can give it an ID. So later on we can use this ID to extract the Viz frame and put it inside a container, which we talked in the theory section before this particular section. So we can do that. So ID Viz frame. So I have given it an ID. I can also give it some default CSS property like width and height, and let me give it 100%, the width and height. And the other most important thing which I need to mention here in the Viz frame is to mention what type of Viz frame it is. So there is a property called Viz type, and in that, if I go into Viz frame and search into the API reference here, you have to look into SAP UI5 API reference, and I'm already in the Viz frame. Let me search here Viz type, and if I look into what are the Viz type we have a lot of different types of values which can come here: stacked bar, stacked column, line, dual line. These are all the types of visualization. So for now, for the starting point, we will use stacked bar, and stacked bar is something which is like this. If you have multiple data points, then they will appear in a different color above or after this data value. So that is what it specifies, what kind of visualization you want in your particular project. So that is what we have. Okay, so inside the Viz frame, let me also have a closing tag here, and there is a start and the close tag of my Viz frame.